Here's one for you. So, I want to talk about the difference between being disciplined and being motivated. And when that thought came into my mind before I hit record, I was like, right, okay, I'm going to look up the definition of both of those. Because you should always, if you're going to talk about something, you should always define your terms. Because, you know, what means discipline to me might mean discipline to somebody else. But these words have meanings, and you can actually literally look them up in the dictionary. But, you know, I fucking have to get to me next stop, and I don't have the time to be at this crack, and done beats perfect, so fucking get on with it. You know what the word discipline means, you know what the word motivation means. So, just very quickly, the difference, in my mind at least, between motivation and discipline is, motivation to me is when you have the energy to go and do something. You get yourself motivated and you get pumped and you get excited and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking do this fucking thing. That's motivation. And discipline then is consciously deciding, no, I'm going to do this thing. When I get up in the morning, I'm going to set my alarm for 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going to get up and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And being disciplined means you're confirming to yourself that you're going to do something, and that's thinking about being disciplined. Being disciplined is actually doing it. Committing to something and doing it. And that's a vague enough definition of terms. Perfectly sufficient for now. But the second thing that came to mind while I was thinking about doing it was, oh, quick, fuck Frano, before you hit record, get your bullet points, get your start, middle and end, get a bit of a narrative going. I was like, yeah, happy days. So I got out the piece of paper and I got out the pen and I was like, right. And my next realization was, fuck, it's easier to say you're going to do something than actually fucking do it, because I was like, how am I going to start, middle and end this? And my bullet points for this are, the first one was a definition of terms. The second one was thinking versus doing. So I'm going to get onto that now before I get to the last one, which is not feeling. So thinking versus doing. I kind of briefly touched on it in relation to being disciplined, and it's the key factor in discipline, and why discipline, in my mind at least, kicks motivation's ass. Because if you want to get a six-pack, just for example, replace six-pack with whatever else it is that you want to achieve. If you only work out when you're motivated, if you only work out when you kind of feel like it, like, good luck with that one. That's not going to happen. And that's the key difference between the two, in this context at least. If you're disciplined, you're going to fucking do it anyway. And there's something to that. And again, discipline, it's like hard work. Discipline in and of itself, like hard work, is something that you practice. It's a skill that you can get better at. You can become a more disciplined person by becoming more, I know it sounds a bit fucking stupid when you kind of say it out loud, but you know, you become a more disciplined person by being a more disciplined person. But again, it's like how you get better at anything. It's fucking baby steps. Be more disciplined than you are. Don't strive to become, and I know I might sound like I'm fucking lecturing here, but I'm lecturing myself, if fucking anything. I have to try and remember that the goal isn't to become, because I am a disciplined person, so my goal shouldn't be to become an incredibly disciplined person. My goal should be become more disciplined, marginally more disciplined, ever so slightly more disciplined, because there's a compounding effect. The more disciplined you are, the more disciplined you become, and you get yourself into a positive feedback loop and you spiral yourself upwards. Instead of what happens, a lot of us, myself included at times, you get less disciplined, and that means, you know, you don't go to bed as early as you know you should, which means you don't get up as early as you should, which means you skip breakfast, or you don't drink enough water, or you skip, you know, things fall through the cracks, and then at the end of the day, you're kind of looking back going, oh, today was a bit of a fucking shit day, and you feel like you deserve 8 cans and a couple of bong hits, or whatever, you know, pick your poison, and you spiral fucking downwards. Because the way you get to peak you, whatever that might be, is the same way you get to fucking bottom of the gutter you, one step at a fucking time. And again, on the last point I wanted to make on this was that they're not feeling it. The key difference between motivation and discipline, and why discipline kicks motivation's ass, is because if you're disciplined, you'll do things when you don't fucking want to do them. So, there's a lot of motivational stuff on YouTube, for example, and there's a lot of motivational, a bit harsh to call them grifters, but people peddling the motivation narrative and getting you fucking, get going. And people go to Tony Robbins is a classic example of this. He goes around the world giving these kind of motivational speeches and motivational talks, and he gets people all fucking fired up in the moment. And that has a lasting effect for a while, but you'd be far better off becoming more disciplined. I think another one of my boyfriends, Jocko Willink, has a soundbite: discipline equals freedom. And he's so fucking right, it's incredible. And I see it in my own life and work. The more disciplined I become, the more I get done. And if you can squeeze, what is for most people 8-hour work day, if you can become disciplined and more productive, and you can squeeze that into a 4-hour work day, you either have earned a bit of downtime for yourself, a bit of leisure time, a bit of time to be creative and goof around, or maybe lie in occasionally, or do whatever it is to kind of reset your batteries or recharge your batteries and kind of reset your psyche. You've either earned that, or you can just work longer, up your productivity, and be fucking further on the road to better finances, better fucking emotional well-being, better fucking pick your poison. And on that note, I'll chat to you soon.